Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson, and you're watching the 5 On Racing Show. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We had an awesome weekend this past Saturday going to Bethel Motor Speedway up in White Lake, New York. And I got to tell you, I have to thank people for the hospitality. We rolled in with the Inravio van, and the crew started piling out, camera guys, crew guys. And my hat's off to those guys. They've never really experienced that. And I got a big thank you to Tracy Tirico, Business Operations Manager at Bethel Motor Speedway, and her entire staff for treating us with such, I can't even come up with a word. We were like walking around like we owned the place. It was awesome. We're at part of the drivers meeting. We talked to drivers. We're doing victory lane interviews, and we'll get to talk about that stuff later. But it was an awesome day. I also like to thank the crew of the Checker One Motorsports, Alan Peterson, driver, and his dad, Artie Peterson, Jr., and the entire crew. They made sure we had something to eat, something to drink. It was just an awesome Saturday. We had a great time, and looking forward to go back there. I believe we're going back there August 6th, if I'm not mistaken, for Legend Stock, so it'll be a good time again. Bethel Motor Speedway, one of the partnering racetracks of the 5 On Racing Show, so thank you. And again, my guys, you know, it was a long day, and they worked their tails off. For me, it was easy. I just stand there with a microphone and follow them around. Or should I say they followed me around. And we had a good time. It was a good experience. But anyway, a lot of racing going on. A lot went on in New Hampshire Motor Speedway up in Loudon, New Hampshire with the what do we got here? The Xfinity Series. And we also had the Sprint Cup Series along with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour and the K&M Pro Series E. So it was a busy weekend at New Hampshire, a weekend that I used to dread as an official. Our week started on Wednesday and didn't end till Sunday, and we'd be at the racetrack before the sun rose, and we'd be there well into the evening. It was one of those weeks where we'd put in 50, 60 hours in just that race weekend. So, but I miss it, but I don't miss it. It's kind of funny. I don't know. It's sad. I'm not even going to get into that. But anyway, a busy weekend of racing, and we got some stuff planned. So we'll have some footage from Bethel Motor Speedway later on in the show, probably the last 15, 20 minutes. We'll end with that. It was these guys. I'm telling you, we got home like 3:30 in the morning, if not later, and they went right to editing. They slept for a few hours, went right to editing, and up until this evening, right before the show, they were still putting some footage together. So it was all good. And I'll tell you, we met a lot of nice people. It was camera night at Bethel Motor Speedway. And other tracks I've been to, they call them pit parties, even though they're not in the pit, they're on the racetrack. The cars line up on a diagonal, on a 45 to the wall and to the front stretch line, and they sign autographs, give away pictures. Some had candies. One team had cupcakes. They were, I guess, the defending champions in their class, and they had cupcakes. And you know, we had to partake in some of the cupcakes, of course, because they were like right near where we were standing. And they had like all different flavors. We had some fun with that. And like I said, candy was given out, balloons. It was, the fans had an awesome time with that. And that's important. You know, a lot of the weekly racing series tracks across the country need to do more of that, need to do more of fan involvement. It took a half hour. Get the cars on the track, get the people on the track, let them walk up and down, let them take pictures, sign autographs, get some freebies, because a lot of the teams are handing out stuff. And, some little kids even got to sit in the cars. And I can remember the first time I sat in somebody's race car, I was maybe all of 4. And I remember turning the steering wheel, and in your head, as a little kid, you're driving that thing. And you're looking at all the switches and the shift and the pedals. And to watch the look on these little kids when they get out of this thing, and it's indescribable. And being from a racing background, I know I still get that look when I get out of a race car, especially when there's no tow truck attached to it, when I drive it off the racetrack. But it was a great day. But anyway, but we'll have results from Bethel Motor Speedway, as well as some video and some interviews that we put together. What I'm going to start off with is the Indy Racing League. They were in Toronto this past weekend. The winner there was Will Power, followed by Helio Castroneves. James Hinchcliffe was 3rd. Tony Kanaan was 4th, and Takuma Sato was 5th. And I'll tell you, the Indy Racing League, I can remember when I was a young guy growing up, Indy Racing was big. Not just the Indianapolis 500. They raced in Milwaukee. They raced all over the country, and it was big. And then what happened, Indy cars, this other series came in and divided it, and kart came into existence. And what happened then? It was a divide and conquer is what really happened. Each side thought it was going to be a good move for each of them so they could grow. And that's not what happened. IndyCar, years ago, you could name 15, 20 IndyCar drivers off the top of your head. Now you're lucky if you could name 4 or 5, because it's just not as big as it used to be. Same with, Formula One racing, not what it used to be. I mean, the money is there. They're getting big payoffs, and they're traveling all over the world now. And the logistics of that, just think of that, the logistics of that. Going through customs with your equipment. You got to have a manifest of everything that's on your hauler. And anything you don't come back with, customs think you sold. And you pay duty and tax on that, both ways. So, it's got to be a logistical nightmare to make happen, but they make it happen. And I'm sure after all these years, they have it down to a science. And I know when the Modified Tour went to Delaware Speedway in Ontario, Canada, UPS kind of schooled NASCAR on how to get through customs for that. UPS, being a customs broker into Canada, was able to expedite some of that movement. So we never went back to that track. When I say we, the Modified Tour, never went back there. It was a good show, and people had a great time. And that was a race that was held in September. And I can remember saying that when I saw the schedule, I said, this race needs to be held earlier in the year. And everybody says, well, why? September's good, the weather's nice. Yeah, but what happened was, if you weren't in the top 20 in points, you didn't go, because it was too costly. And maybe the guy in 21st won because he got a shot at 20th, because that's where the point fund was paid out, is the top 20. So if that would have been earlier, everybody has a shot at, everybody's going to be, I'm going to win the championship after 2-3 races. And then it starts to dwindle. And that race should have been held earlier. And I hope the powers to be try to get that race back and have it earlier in the season. I think there'd be a better turnout. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what went on in Toronto. And the other thing, they're running these road courses, and it's good for TV because there's cameras everywhere. But it's not, in my opinion, good for the people who pay a lot of money to watch those races, because it's a road race through the city. So basically, you're seeing what passes in front of you. Like the first time I went to Pocono, every 55 seconds I saw the field of cars go by, and it was zoom, 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 like this, and then you hear them, and they're up in, it's 5,000 feet, a mile long straightaway. They're up in turn 1, and then they go up in turn 2, and then they're in 3, and you can hear them, but you don't see them. And then all of a sudden you hear this rumble, and you hear they're coming, and then again, you do that 200 times, it kind of got a little boring. So I think what I ended up doing is the following year I watched from the infield, and then after that I've been really up top or up in the suites watching that race. So always have a good time when I go up to Pocono. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. The NASCAR Southern Modified Tour, their next race will be August 6th. That'll be at the Bowman Gray Stadium. If you've never been there, that's the place that they call Madhouse. And it's insane. I went there once, and the place was jam-packed, crowded, shoulder to shoulder, 3 and 4 deep in the standing areas, and people were fighting not only in the pit area, in the grandstands, and it was like being at a motorcycle convention, motorcycle club convention, where the factions are going to rumble to see which motorcycle club is going to be in charge. Well, this is what was going on at this place, and but then they had that show on TV called Madhouse, where they followed a bunch of drivers around during the week, and that stuff was happening. This wasn't staged for TV, so it was interesting. But one of the things with the Southern Modified Tour is the Southern Modified Tour does not have a lot of races in June and into July because of Bowman Gray. They don't want to compete with that because many, if not all, of the modified tour drivers from the Southern Tour race weekly at Bowman Gray. And to make them make a choice for that, it would hurt both Bowman Gray and the Tour. So they've gotten together and they've done that. They kind of don't bump with each other. So Bowman Gray, man, it's going to be an interesting season, at least an interesting race there, because there's no holes barred in there, and there's a lot of rivalries there, which is one of the things that's missing in every other series, including Sprint Cup, Xfinity, and Camper World. There's no rivalries anymore. There's no villains. There's no characters. There's no guys that the fans are coming out to see and say, who's he going to get next? Who's he going to battle? Who's going to rub? Think about years ago, the legendary battles with the late Richie Evans and Jerry Cook, making guys think they were going to different racetracks so that, if they ran for national points, there was no tour then. Whatever track you raced at, you got points. And they had dummy enclosed trailers with a hauler with their numbers on them, making it look like they were going to one place or they were going to another place, up from upstate New York. And those were the things that went on. You think of those legendary teams, right on Long Island, Charlie Jazombach, Richie Hendrickson, both, no longer with us, and Charlie losing his life at Martinsville. Those guys were. Man, I remember going to Ice Speedway. It was 1-2, those guys, just about every weekend. And if one didn't finish, then that meant they both didn't finish. Very rarely do I remember Charlie not finishing and Jimi Hendrickson not finishing. The battles were just legendary. And that's what's missing from racing today. The race fan today, in my opinion, they go to see the wrecks. They go to see the crashes. You have a school bus demolition derby, your place is overflowing. You have a big modified race or a big late model race, yeah, you have a decent crowd, but it's not the same crowd that shows up for a demo derby. So, but I think that's what's missing today. So, like I said, the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour, they will be at Bowman Gray, and that'll be an interesting race to watch. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll talk about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour results at New Hampshire, as well as the K&N Pro Series East when we come back.
guys, we're Scare No Fear, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, welcome back. All right, NASCAR was up at New Hampshire Motor Speedway up in Loudon, New Hampshire. And busy weekend. The K&M Pro Series East was there. The NASCAR Whelen Modified All-Star Race was there. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour was there. The Xfinity Series was there, and the Sprint Cup Series was there as well. In the K&M Pro Series East, we had Corey LaJoie taking down the win there, followed by Todd Gillian. Justin Haley was third. Kyle Benjamin was fourth from the pole. Austin Thorold was fifth, followed by Hunter Bays as sixth. Harrison Burton was seventh. Trey Hutchins was eighth. Ryan Preece, nice, and Tyler Dipple rounding out the top 10. The controversial NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour All-Star Race, when I say controversial, it had to do with who got in and how, but I'm not going to get into that. I got into that last week. But Bobby Santos was the winner, followed by Eric Goodale. Then Ronnie Silk was third. Ryan Preece fourth. Doug Colby was fifth, followed by Rowan Pennican sixth. Then we have Justin Bonsignor in seventh. Timmy Solomino was in eighth. Patrick Emmerling ninth. Ryan Newman rounding out the top 10. There was one caution in this race, and it was at lap 20, a competition caution to allow the teams to pit and make minor adjustments. So Bobby Santos getting a win there. In the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event following the next day, Doug Colby was the winner, followed by Donnie Leah. Patrick Emmerling was third. Ron Silk fourth from the pole. We also had Ryan Newman finishing in the top 5. Ryan Preece sixth. Woody Pitkat seventh. Justin Bonsignor eighth. Eric Goodale ninth. Todd Zegedy was 10th. And there was one caution in this event, and it was for 5 laps on lap 51. So, you know what, and I said last week, and you know what, I was proven wrong. I'm figuring it's going to be a wreck fest. You're going to have 50 laps under caution like most of those events are. It was a good, clean race. And, you know, and that's what these guys need to do. Put on some of these good, clean races in front of a large crowd like they had in New Hampshire, in front of TV, in front of some of the higher-ups, not only in NASCAR, but in racing in general. And these guys finally learned their lesson, because these guys are thinking somebody's going to pick them up because they won the race after lap 1. No, it's 100 laps. You got to keep going. So my hat's off to the modified guys. You know, a couple of my buddies still run there, and you know, it's just one of those things there. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I wanted to talk about briefly about the NASCAR Whelen Modified All-Star Race. You know, Jamie Tomato made the All-Star Race, and the guy pulled out. I think after 5 laps of the vibration, I think the official reason for out was. And I'm thinking what he did was, I have one car, I'm saving it for tomorrow. And I don't know what, you know, last place paid, and it really doesn't matter. A lot of guys at that level still aren't doing it for the money. They're doing it because that's what they do. And you know, you look at that, and I often wonder, You know, a guy has one car and he's in this, and the wear and tear, it's another event on their motor, on their drivetrain. It's another set of tires. You know, they're not getting these tires for free. They're paying for these things, $700-800 a set. So, you know, when I see something like that, you know, you have to wonder, you know, why are they putting on these races with this added expense, yet there's not a big payoff? It's an all-star event. You know, why isn't there a big payoff down the line, all the way through? Yeah, the winner should get a little bit more. I think the winner got pocketed $4,000. But, you know, the payoffs need to be better in this modified series, and it's just not. In fact, the payoffs have actually gone down from what I could see from when I first got involved with the tour in 2002 and then full-time in 2003. And here's the reason, and former NASCAR touring series director Ed Cox, he was the modified touring series guy at the time that I was involved. I can remember him sitting down in a meeting with the owners, and there was two things that he talked about. He talked about their fancy haulers that coming into these tracks, and they're coming in with $1 million haulers complaining they need more money. And then they're going to race, at the time was the True Value Series, for, you know, a weekly payoff. A weekly payoff. And I can remember him saying, guys, if you keep supporting those other series for so much less money, you're showing the promoters that you're willing to race for less. And now the purses are less. And it shouldn't be. I believe the race here on Long Island at Riverhead paid more than it had in the past. It was no longer a flash race, but not a lot more. That used to be per mile, as the PR used to say, the largest payoff on the tour per mile. It was 200 laps, 50 miles, and if I'm not mistaken, it was like $6,000 or $6,500 to win, which they paid in cash. You went to the back window, you went to the payoff window, and they just started counting $100 bills in front of you. And you know what? I don't know about you folks, but for me to pocket $6,000, I gotta gross 12. So that makes it a big payoff. And that's why the guys like coming, you know, to Long Island, because they paid cash and they paid a lot of it. You know, the last place guy got a nice piece of change as well. But anyway, hey, I see Tracy from Bethel is in the chat room. First time in a long time. And welcome back. We had a great time. I know you missed my accolades to you and your staff, but I'm going to say it again. Tracy, your staff treated us like gold. We wanted for nothing. We were treated like we were there every week and part of the family. From the guy who opened the gate to the people who took pictures in Victory Lane and to the people who let me do those interviews in Victory Lane. So, Tracy, thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of the staff at Inravio and Ultimate Media and the 505 on Racing Show. So it's all good. So we had a good time. But you know, when we're talking about these purses just they need to go up. You know, think about what it costs to put a race car on a racetrack, not including the travel, the hotels, and the food. Think about the cost of that, and just the Long Islanders that go up, not only to these tour races through New England and into Tennessee to Bristol, but guys who live on Long Island who travel up to Bethel. And I'll tell you what, we made the jaunt, we made the trip, 3.5 hours, you know, in the van. We had a couple of delays along the way, which I'm not even going to talk about. One was to eat, all right, so it was a good delay, but the other one, you know, whatever. But, you know, and they tow up there. Now, it's a weekly payout. It's a weekly racetrack. It's not covering that expense because racers at this level, it's like a golf game, you know? Sometimes it costs me a couple of bucks to go play golf. Guys who go fishing, just the fuel alone to go out into the ocean with their larger boats, or even go around in the bay here on Long Island or the Sound on the north side. You know, you're not looking, you know, when you pull into the dock with your boat, you know, the dockmaster's not writing you a check for how many fish you brought in. And when you play golf, at the end, you go to the 19th hole and you have a couple of adult beverages. The bartender's not saying, oh, what'd you shoot today? Oh, you shot a 92. Well, 92 pays this. No, they don't do that. So, you know, it's just the way racing is, I guess. But I really wish that people would take a look at the purses that are being paid without hitting the competitors. And that's another thing, because the competitors in a lot of instances are paying their own purse and they don't even realize it, by their pit fees in the back gate. They walk in, and think about it, you have 1,000 people going to a pit, and I'm making up a number for math purposes, but 1,000 people going to the back gate, and it's $30 to get in. That's $30,000 in cash, small bills, all small bills, 20s, 50s, 10s. The poor guy who's, scrounging up a couple of bucks to get into pits, and he pays in fives and singles. That's $30,000. You take a track that has 5 divisions, let's say, and their feature division is a modified or an SK or even a late model, and then you have your other support divisions, what's the total purse paid out? Maybe 15,000, 16 maybe. Maybe you have a good paying track, like I'm not sure what the payouts here on Long Island at Riverhead, but at one time with 5 divisions, between the modifieds, late models, the Chargers, figure eights, trucks, and blunderbuss, I think the total purse was around 19,000. You bring, that's a $11,000 net. You didn't sell a ticket, you didn't sell a beer or a hot dog or a hamburger or a bucket of French fries yet. So, and I know race promoters have to make money. They're in the business to make money. They're not in the business to lose money. But there needs to be a fine line between that. Maybe PR people at some of these tracks need to go solicit sponsors to help offset some of that cost. It's just my opinion. Something I've thought about for years and years and years. So it always kind of bothered me. I sat there one night, and we're done racing for the night. We're having a few adult cocktails, maybe having some, drinking some stuff that's in a mason jar, and we're all telling stories. And I was like, well, my car finished 12th, and they paid me $100. I had a driver and 4 crew guys at $30, so that's $150. My set of tires cost me $8. My fuel cost me $50. I'm losing my shirt here. And everybody's looking at me, well, we don't do this for the money. No, you're right, you don't. But you do want to be able to get, some kind of return. And, does it come from the promoters? I'm not blaming promoters. People need to understand that NASCAR don't pay the purses. NASCAR is just a sanctioning body. It's like the NFL. The NFL don't pay the players, the teams do. So when you look at that, when you look at something like that, what do you do? As maybe a PR guy needs to solicit more. Maybe you need to come up with some kind of gimmick. I don't know. I mean, I've gone to races where it was, they advertised 2,000 to win. Second paid 100. Third paid like 75. Fourth was 65. Fifth was 50, and everybody else got $25. That's not right. That's not right. And basically, NASCAR doesn't allow that. That was a track that was non-NASCAR. NASCAR, your purses have to be published. They have to be sent to NASCAR. And the way it used to work is, if you had a NASCAR event, the money had to be in a bank to cover that event, because NASCAR is writing checks out. You get checks. Like I said, one track was paying in cash, but all the other tracks that came out of the NASCAR check, you got a mail, like a check in the mail a couple of weeks later. But purses, that's a big thing. And when you look at that, it's the money, and the money's just not out there anymore. Companies, when they look at where to cut on their budget, the first thing they cut is advertising, and that's where race sponsorships come in. And right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't know, but I don't know. So like Need for Speed and Quebec Basic, Long Island Need for Speed was up at the Evergreen Speedway in Pennsylvania yesterday with Sal Accardi Jr. Sal, and is that a guest on our show right before Sal Sr. passed away, is up there driving a modified, and he finished 15th and was paid $300. Nice payoff. But the ferry, the toll probably cost them that going round trip, not including the fuel. And these are the things I'm talking about. The cost to go. It's, $300 sounds nice. Not when you had to travel, 2.5 hours, 5 hours round trip, and fuel in a hauler and tolls and whatnot. Again, it's not the racetrack's responsibility to make sure you make money, but maybe not make it hurt so much. Anyway, we come back, we'll have the results of the Xfinity Series in New Hampshire and the Sprint Cup Series, as well as some stories that are developing in NASCAR when we come back.
Inravio.com wants you. Inravio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to Inravio.com/join the team.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Rich Weller. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, this is Chris Les Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Welcome back, everybody. Ah, yes, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and I'll tell you what, it's one of my favorite places to go to watch a race. It's not like a Bristol or Montville, which are my favorite places to go. But the thing I liked about New Hampshire Motor Speedway, even when it was called Loudon under Bob Baer's ownership, is that it's a family atmosphere. Whether you agree with this or not, there's kids in the pit area. There's kids in the garage. It's a family sport. Your kids shouldn't be locked out. I know when I worked those races years ago, and I took my kids with me. I remember one of the races there was just too many people in the tower, and as race director, the series director at the time, Ed Cox, he was going to call the race because our spotting official could not make it. He couldn't get like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off from work. So I'm up in the spotters stand up on the roof, and I was like, you know what? I think my kids will get a kick out of it. They were young. They were in their early teens, maybe, maybe 10 and 12 or 11 and 13, whatever they were. And I brought them up to the roof with me to watch the race. And you would have thought what I did for them. And it was a family time. There was my three girls up in the spotters stand watching the races. I think one of them even had their headset on, listening to what was going on. And it's family. There's a cafeteria. There's things for them to do. There's walking around and meeting drivers, and drivers stop. It's funny, a bunch of adults walking around, with their pen, hey, sign it, sign it, sign it. And they kind of just ignore it, but a little kid, they're like, and they sign it for the kid. Or like my daughter, when Tony Stewart, pat her on the shoulder, she says, oh, I'll never wash my shoulder again, because Tony Stewart touched her. Or Casey Kane shook her hand, oh, I can't wash my hands, Casey Kane touched her. Those are the memories that you build upon, and I'll tell you what, that was why I liked New Hampshire, the family atmosphere that went on, and the modified tour. They were off on Fridays. Why, I don't know. When I don't question things anymore. They had a big picnic, all kinds of food. Everybody made something. There was plenty to drink and eat, and it was just a good old time. And the kids met other kids, and it's all good. And I know Thompson kind of came close, Thompson Motorsports Park back in the day too. They would have the modified auxiliary, which all the officials and many of the teams were part of. But if you were in the auxiliary, your kids could sing the national anthem at the last race of the year. And that was pretty cool, even though my kids were too shy to do it. I couldn't explain to them that there were 30 other kids. They could have just stood there. But no, my one daughter thought, I can't sing in front of everybody. No, it's other people. No, you're just saying that, But it was fun. But anyway, the good old days, the good old days. The Xfinity Series, Kyle Busch won from the pole. Eric Jones was second. Brad Keselowski third. Daniel Suarez was fourth. Austin Dillon finishing fifth. Brennan Poole was sixth. Justin Allgaier was seventh. Alex Bowman was eighth. Brendan Gaughan ninth. And Elliott Sadler rounding out the top 10. Elliott Sadler, the man that should be in the Sprint Cup Series. One of these days, Elliott, one of these days. All right. Before we get into the Sprint Cup Series finish, I want to talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I think I have a nice picture of him up there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. missed New Hampshire this weekend and may miss Indy next week. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Missed the New Hampshire event after Dale Earnhardt announced on Thursday he could not race at New Hampshire due to symptoms of concussions. Jr. missed 2 races in 2012 due to concussions. Jr., 41, believes crashes on June 12th at Michigan and July 2nd at Daytona caused the symptoms. Originally, Jr. thought his allergies had kicked in and they were bothering him big time. Then he thought he had a sinus infection. He went to the doctor and it was due to the concussions that he has suffered, which were aggravated again in these crashes on July 2nd and June 12th. Post-concussion syndrome is not a good thing. If anybody's into hockey and remembers Pat LaFontaine, a dominant force and scorer on the New York Islanders in the NHL, had to retire way too early due to the numerous concussions that he received in his playing career. And what happens when you have that? At any given time, the next shot in the head could be your last one. And you know, football, the NFL is studying concussions, and they're trying to put things in place to lower the concussions. We're making rules about hitting in the head, using your head to hit. And you know, in racing now, think about this in racing. Now, I'm no engineer and I'm no physicist, but I'm an intelligent person, I think. And I watched when I was the tower safety director on the modified. I had to watch a lot of video of crashes. And I know this kind of firsthand. And Johnny Benson, who was racing for Roush at the time, for Jack Roush Racing, Johnny Benson hit the wall, not even at high speed. He was under caution, so they were probably going about 60 or 70. And sitting in his seat, there was an in-car camera right over his shoulder. He hit the wall. His head hit the mirror and came back down. Now think about it. It went this far. It went this far. Now, I had the same situation because sitting in my race car, I could not adjust my mirror with the belts on. I had to loosen them up and do this, sit back, do this. Until I was comfortable with where the mirror was, I locked my belts down. When I had that crash in '96, almost 20 years ago, my helmet hit the mirror. And I know this because when I got my helmet back, it had glass in it, and my black mirror had red from the red helmet. So your head stresses. So now when you're going 100, 150, 180 miles an hour, or 200 miles an hour like in Daytona, and you hit the wall, it's not the hit that hurts your brain and your head, it's the sudden stop. And anything that has any play in it after the hit is still going 200 miles an hour. So you hit the wall, your brain smashes against your skull, and then the reverse action, because we all know in physics, for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. Now the brain hits the back of the skull. No matter what helmet you have, it's not going to stop that, because your brain isn't crammed into your skull cavity. There's some play in it. There's cushioning, there's fluids. You know, if you ever shot somebody in the head, you know, all the fluid comes out first. Not that I shot somebody in the head, though, but I watch movies, all right? So anyway, you know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is at a crossroads in his career over these concussions. This doesn't count when he's out with his buddies four-wheeling and flipping and crashing, or playing football in his backyard and getting his head pounded. You know, your head can only take so many shots. And, you know, my prayers are out to Dale Earnhardt Jr. that whatever this is, they can maybe fix or reverse. And I don't know. You have to be careful. And Alex Bowman replaced Junior at New Hampshire, finishing 26th after hitting the wall and coming back with repairs and cutting down a tire. But he was running 10th when he hit that wall on lap 269 of 301. It was a good race, a good event. And, unfortunately hit the wall. Right now, retired Jeff Gordon is on standby to replace Junior if he is unable to compete at Indy this upcoming weekend. So, prayers out to Dale that everything works out. And this concussion thing needs to be taken, a serious look at. When you stand up, and you have this concussion thing, sometimes you get dizzy. Sometimes you forget stuff. Your brain isn't designed to be banged around. It's just not. And no matter what safety equipment you have, they need to take a look at that. They've stopped the body from moving. They've stopped the neck. Now they got to do something with the head. So anyway, and I'm sure NASCAR is working on ways to protect that. Anyway, the Sprint Cup Series, again, was at New Hampshire. They will be at Indy, as will the Xfinity Series. And the Camping World Truck Series will be in Eldora, Tony Stewart's truck. So Matt Kenseth was the winner. We'll talk about that in a minute. Tony Stewart was second. Joey Logano was third. Kevin Harvick fourth. Greg Biffle was fifth. Jamie McMurray sixth. Ryan Newman was seventh. Kyle Busch eighth. Denny Hamlin ninth. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounded out the top 10. Jimmy Johnson started on the pole and didn't have such a great day, but he was a pole sitter again. But some of the things going on. Speaking of Matt Kenseth, the Sprint Cup winner this Sunday at New Hampshire, failed post-race inspection. The car did not meet compliance at the LIS station. For those who don't know what that is, that's the laser inspection station. There's no more measuring with tape measures and the old Bill Bryce tape measure that had an eighth of an inch cut off. You didn't know. That was the measurement that he used on cars he didn't like. But the car was confiscated and brought to the NASCAR R&D Center in Concord, North Carolina, to be gone over again, every inch of that car and every measurement. Also, runner-up Tony Stewart, his car was taken to Concord, North Carolina, to the R&D Center. However, his car passed the LIS station when it went through post-race tech. And while we're talking about some good things, I want to wish a happy birthday to Glenn Wood, part of the legendary Wood Brothers Racing. He turns 91 today. And I'll tell you what, the guy looks like he can still hop over the wall and change a tire. Leonard Wood, who I've spoken to on many occasions, have met. You'll never meet two finer gentlemen, and I say that. I mean, you take Richard Petty, you take the Wood Brothers. Those guys are, I salute them. My hat's off to those guys. They are what made this sport what it is today. It is awesome. But happy birthday to Glenn Wood. And I'll tell you what, if you look at, I remember ABC Wild World of Sports had a thing on pit stops, and they slowed it down because the Wood Brothers invented the pit stop. Not pitting for fuel and tires, but what to do on a pit stop. And their actions and their movements are still used today by the teams that are on pit road. Moving tires, the way they did the fuel, the spinning, the turning, as little steps as possible, as least amount of pumps on the jack as you could go. The Wood Brothers invented the pit stop. So if you ever could Google that or look on YouTube, it's amazing. But anyway, there's some talk about NASCAR banning a substance called alpha testosterone and force nitro. It's a supplement that burns fat, adds muscle, and builds energy. I need some of that. But anyway, now, that was one of the substances that Dana Patrick was taking and that they were looking to suspend her for a year for. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on it, as well as many other drivers. And NASCAR feels that that's an unfair advantage for them to use. Now, is it really an unfair advantage? It's an unfair advantage, in my opinion, when you can't get what the other teams have. Like years ago, special teams got special tires. Special teams got different fuel lines. And if you don't think that happened, read the book. It's a book called Cheating in NASCAR. You know, that stuff happened. So I don't think it's an unfair advantage because anybody can go online, order the stuff, and pay for it. The alpha testosterone and the forced nitro, like I said, it burns fat. It adds muscle. Now, ESPN.com is doing a study. They did a 30-day study on this stuff. And whether or not it's 100% legitimate, their study or not, I would think it would be. ESPN is a reputable company, ESPN.com. And they took a chubby little guy, one of their people, and they took a picture of this guy, and he had a little bit of stomach, and he had flabby chest and flabby arms, and he took this on a regimented basis for 30 days with zero exercise. Just what he went through his normal day. He went from his car to the coffee truck to his office, to the coffee truck at lunch, to the coffee truck at break, to his car, stopped for a couple of cold ones on the way home for happy hour, went home and ate dinner. He didn't change his habits. 30 days later, this flab was gone, this flab was gone, his chest was beefed, and he didn't have the six-pack abs yet, but he had four of the six-packs. So maybe there's some truth to that, I don't know. But we'll see what NASCAR comes when they check these tests and kind of go from there. So, but alpha testosterone and forced nitro, it's a supplement. The FDA has not made any evaluations on it, but it'll be interesting to see. I've been working out in the gym now. I have a personal trainer. I said to a couple of people, I think I should try that stuff, and they think I'm crazy. So everybody said you're crazy, so I'm not gonna try it. I was gonna do it for the show. I was gonna do like a before and after thing to see if it really worked, but people are talking me out of it. So I'm not gonna try it. I'm gonna find a guinea pig. I'm gonna find somebody to do it for me. But anyway, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I believe we're gonna talk about Bethel Motor Speedway and some of the results we have this weekend there when we come back.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
What's up, guys? We're Scared No Fair, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
Hey, this is Chris Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is
What's up, guys? We're Scared No Fear, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, welcome back. Bethel Motor Speedway. Got the results. I'll tell you what, it was it was 1, 3, 6, I think there were 9 divisions of racing, and it went very smooth. It went very quick. And like I said, the staff was there. They never really experienced the behind the scenes of what goes on. And I'll tell you what, they had a great time. I mean, they kind of interrupted my nap on the way back, but they're snoring, but that's all right. That's usually me. But anyway, as he says, some dialogue between the 31 Drew Crew fans and Tracy at Bethel. And they made a comment, Tracy's son Brian, he races there, and he was in Bandoleros, and he moved up into I believe the street stocks. And he's the youngest guy there. He's competing with guys that are like a lot older than him. And I'll tell you what, he's holding his own, and he's using a car that his dad used, as Chris, who was very helpful to me. And when my daughter was racing blunderbuss here, I mean, the fact that we bought the car from him, and every time my daughter tore it up and bent it up, Chris was able to put it back together. I wanted to name the car Humpty Dumpty because, all the king's horses and all the king's men always put it back together. Even that she had a race, I believe it was 2006, I think it was. 6? Yeah, 2006, where it was so bent, the race car, it did not fit in the hauler. It just didn't fit. The right front bumper was on the outside wall of the trailer. The Nerf bar on the left side was on the outside wall on the left side. We were going to turn the car sideways to get in, and thank God one of the locals with a tow truck towed it back for me. We brought it right back to Chris's house, and Chris made it a winter project out of it. All he kept saying, he sent me, calling me, all right, we need this, all right, we need that, okay. And when we came back, it was a brand new car. And I'll never forget that. You see, you never forget stuff like that, and I don't think I even had to buy him a dinner. I just paid for parts and put him out in his garage all winter long. And I'd go there to help, and he would do me a favor, just go. So, we had to do that. So I'm going to give the results real quick, and then we have some footage from Bethel. So here we go. We got results-wise. I was unable to download them today, so I'm going to read them out. Normally we have them on the screen. But in the Bethel Modifieds, we had John Coate was first, Steve Galgano second, and Joe DiGrazia was third. In the 358 Sportsman's, Rick Mill was first, Kyle Redner second, and Paul Martin was third. The Legends, well, I'm going to save that for later. The Bandoleros, Sean Varais was first, Tyler Dockenhausen, I met him at the driver's meet. I say his name right now. Eugene Storm Drew was third. In the beginner Bandoleros, Teddy Crenmo was first, Katie Varais second, and Nick Archieri was third. The Pro Stocks had Matt Crossan crossing the line first, with Vinnie Stanton second, and Vinnie Stanton Sr. second, and Kenny Atkins third. In the Street Stocks, we had Gary Van Orden first, Kyle Welsh second, Emma Van Orden rounding out the top three there. The four-cylinder novice, Vinny DeGraw was the winner, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit. And John Arling was second, and Kayla Curry was third. In the four-cylinder advanced, we had Brian, and this one I still have trouble with, I'm sorry, even when I did his post-race interview in Victory Lane. Brian Bauernfeld was first, Mike Curry was second, and Cody Out was third. Vinny DeGraw. I happened to be at the sign-in window when he signed in, and the guy had this nervous look on his face, and he must have said 5 times at the sign window, I'm going to be the novice, the four-cylinder novice. I'm the four-cylinder novice guy tonight. You got me in that car, right? And I'm like, wow, this guy's like really nervous, you know? And then he went out and he won the race, and his smile went from ear to ear, and when I put the mic in front of his face, he didn't know what to say. And I started, bow, earn, fine. There you go, Tracy, thank you. Now I'll know. I'm going to write that down. But I put the mic in his face, and he didn't know what to say. And I said, how's it feel to get your first victory? It was good. Good. I saw it at the side with her. Yeah. And I said, listen, this is your first win ever? And he said that, I said, it's not going to hit you till during the week. First win. But we got some footage from Bethel. We're going to show that right now. I'm going to show that right now. Here we go. Some footage from Bethel. I'm standing here in Victor Lane with the winner of the Pro Stock event, Mac Crossan. Congratulations, Mac.
Thank you.
Tell us about that race.
It was awesome. The car handled fantastic. My pit crew, I got to put this out for them, man. They did a great job on it. All I did was drive it, so it was fun.
All you did was drive it. This is number 2 for the season, correct?
Number 2 for this season and the second one in 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was out of racing for quite a while, and I came back last year. This year it's really paying off, so I'm loving every second of it.
Mac, tell us some of the people that help you out.
Joe Colt, my son Porter Crossan, Matt Bowden, my son-in-law, and my little girl Juliana. She comes in to clean the windows and stuff. So, and my mom, I use her garage all the time, so I got to thank her too.
How about some of your sponsors?
The sponsors, I have so many of them. There's Don Orl's Garage, Scott's Auto Body, Davis Trucking, Circle E Diner in Hancock. There's quite a few of them. So,
Mac, congratulations on the win.
thanks again.
Hope you get a couple more.
Oh, I will definitely. This car's handling great.
There you go. I'm standing with the winner of the Bandolero Bandit class here, Mike Roth. Mike, congratulations on this win.
Thank you.
Mike, how long you been doing this?
4 years.
4 years, and you started out in the Bandolero, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little about, take us through that race tonight.
The beginning was a little hard, couldn't get around, but eventually once it started getting spread out, I could get around, and I had a little spin, but I recovered for it and finished 4th.
Good finish in the overall, and in the bandit level, you're number 1. Congratulations. Mike Roth, winner of the bandit level in the Bandoleros. We're staying with Vincent here, 4-cylinder novice winner, and I understand this is your first career victory.
Yes, it is.
You know, tonight when I was at this afternoon, we were at the signing window, and I just distinctly remember you coming in and saying, I'm in the novice car, and you must have said it like 3 times, like you're all excited. Tell us about the excitement today.
I don't know. I don't know what to, I don't even know what to say. I'm lost right now.
You know, I've been doing this business, I've been in the racing business over 40 years, and a first victory is, you know, kind of emotional, and you don't know what to say. It hasn't even hit you yet. It'll probably hit you during the week.
I hope so.
Vincent, who are some of the people that help you?
Mikey Travis, Bill Van Aken, Joe Smith, Gordy, everybody, a lot of people.
You had an opportunity to drive this car. How did that come to be?
My cousin Mikey, he said that I'm starting on pole tonight and I'm going to take it and win.
There you go. Congratulations on your first win. Hope you have many, many more. In Victory Lane with Brian Bonfront. Won the winner feature event tonight, Brian. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What division is this car in?
4-cylinder Advance.
Take us through that race a little bit.
Long.
Long,
sweating race.
Was the track getting wet?
No.
It was good for you guys.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
4 years.
Brian, congratulations on the victory. Wish you continued success.
Thank you.
Stand here in Victory Lane, Legends Division winner, Alan Peterson. Alan, congratulations.
Thank you.
How'd it feel out there tonight?
I mean, car was hooked up from the start of the day. It was so fast. I have to thank my brother Artie, my dad, my mom, my whole family. I wouldn't be able to do this without them. They support me. There was so many cautions in that race, and it just felt that was the longest race I've ever been in. That's for sure. The rain delay right before, it was definitely one to remember.
You know, your dad made a comment after your win and you coming off the track. Your dad said he led every competitive lap tonight in qualifying and in the feature. How did that feel?
That was exhilarating. I said to my brother, that was the first race I've ran 20 laps. Like, I've run races, but I was driving every lap, and I could confidently say that I was. I could have no regrets after today that I did all I could to get this.
Who's some of the people that help you out?
First of all, my parents, my mom and my dad, supporting with money and everything. My best friend, Chris Perry, has been here for a long time. Could not do this without him. My brother Artie, John Heeg, Ron Folden. Ron couldn't be here today, but he wanted this probably as much as anyone else. That's about it.
What about some of the sponsors that, you have like a billboard on this car, so there's a lot to mention.
Yeah, I gotta name a few. Well, first off, Inravio, you guys coming out today, taping this whole moment, just getting the whole day. That was great. Sherwin-Williams, Fast and All, TJ's Heroes, they've been with us forever. East End RV, Rico's Clothing, Dr. Martha C. Baker, K&K Auto Transport, the Legend Group, Chevy 112, Sign Design, Turf Brothers, just everyone else. They chip in, Soundwave, just so many people. They all support, tips, like not even money, just it's been coming for a while, and I'm so happy it finally happened.
And I'm glad we were a part of it today. Alan, congratulations on the win. You got to have a good season. The 2015 New York State champion and winner here tonight at Bethel Motor Speedway, Alan Peterson. We're standing in Victory Lane with Gary Van Orden, the winner of the Street Stock Division race, feature race here at the Bethel Motor Speedway. Gary, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back in Victory Lane.
What was it like out there? It started getting a little wet.
If you saw it, the car got looser and looser, and I had to clean my visor there a couple times. I'm like, either rain or stop, because I couldn't hang on much longer.
How many wins you got under your belt?
Who counts? I don't know. I try not to keep track. I am superstitious.
So you've done this. You've been in Victory Lane a few times in your career, then.
Oh yeah.
How long you doing this?
19 years. Yeah.
Okay,
Love Street Stock Division. Ran another division 1 year. It was okay, but I love Street Stock, and my kids run Street Stock. And
take us through that race a little bit. Take us through what went on in that race.
Well, I made a move real early. I had to go 3 wide, which I don't like to do, but I gave Patty plenty of room. I knew I could run out there, even with grease. And once I cleared, I said, all right. And the track just got real loose on me, and normally it doesn't. But I like I say, man, a couple more laps, I couldn't have hung on. I brushed the wall there on about 12 or 13, and it was a little scary.
Okay, congratulations on a victory tonight. Wishing you continued success in your future.
Thank you. I got to say thanks to all the people that helped me, and my wife and my family and everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
How do you like Bethel?
I love it. I've been coming here for a long time.
Oh, have you? Great. Nice little track, huh?
It is.
It is. It's a great family track.
Thank you very much. Continued luck. had a great time doing that show, and my hats off to Kyle and Levy for. I'm telling you, these guys didn't stop. Cameras strapped to their shoulders, carrying this other big thing that moved up and down, and Chuck, who's puts this all together. He wanted to go to sleep driving home, but you know me, I go to sleep right away, and the other two guys were beat, and we made it happen. And again, my hat's off to them. And again, a big thank you, not only to Tracy and Annette, but to the crews that saw us walking around with cameras and a mic, following us like with a Pied Piper. And you know, they all wanted to be on TV, and we have a lot more footage we're going to show throughout the year. But a big thank you to everybody. And I know we went way over tonight, and this doesn't mean we're going to go an hour and a half in the future. But I thank you guys and gals out there in the chat room, and those who are not in the chat room for watching and listening in. And also a big shout out to Artie Peterson Jr. for again, I know I said this, but for his hospitality. And at the end of the night, when we walked out of Victory Lane, we put our arms around each other because we go back a long way. And I thanked him, and he said, "You don't have to thank me. We're like family. I would do anything for you, and you for me." And that's big, and that's how this racing community is, and that's how we always have made it happen. We help each other, we're there for each other, and again, this is why I do this. This is why I do this. It's just what I do, and. You know, somebody once said to me, "Hey, this is what we do," and absolutely. And I used to tell my kids, you know, when they'd be playing in the morning, I said, "This is the business we chose." And my kids are still involved with this racing. You know, they hated it growing up. So anyway, it's all good. It's all good. So we're gonna close out. So again, I thank everybody for their patience tonight, for going over, and for everything you do, and for what you guys do for our show. And I thank you. So. Wherever your endeavors are going to bring you this weekend, please be safe, please be careful. Give somebody a hug, tell them you love them. God bless you all, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Inravio.com